Vladimir Putin, the distinguished ruler of what has lately been fascist Russia, whether it's their own doing or whether it's a response to the United States, I don't know. Um, has on occasions complained that, and been right to complain that unfortunate and irregular remarks are made about him during diplomacy and so forth, which they sometimes are. I'm not going to deny that. But one of the things I know, this isn't about Putin. One of the things I know about op-ed journalism, which where the common man's ideas get mangled in airplay with the powers who hold the keys to sovereignty, whether it's the rulers of Russia or the elected officials of the United States. In op-ed journalism, opinions mingle and they get shouted at and they get shot down. The problem with that situation is that in academics, when you're learning something, you have a teacher and a mentor to challenge your ideas and develop them and check facts. And it's called peer review. You know, when you publish something or when you pre-publish something, you have somebody read it and grant their opinion about what you're writing. So peer review processes are part of the ordinary academic procedure. And that doesn't really happen in op-ed. You don't have the obligation, it's almost an obligatory thing to say, I'm right, I'm absolutely right, I'm totally right, and you're wrong, you're wrong, you're absolutely wrong, you're totally wrong. And it plays out and it's conditioned by the bullheaded nonsense about, oh, you blinked, that goes on back and forth between the nations. Oh, you bullied us because you this or that, you know. And then you have these terrible situations where there's cross border um, violence and stuff. I mean, yeah, I have no intercourse with any of that. But my op eds address it sometimes. So the question that comes up then is if you're offering a superficial analysis, some of which is clearly true and being left out, what is the listener supposed to make of the fact that some of it is superficial? Well, what you're supposed to make of it is that I'm putting forward some ideas for peer review. I'm offering the unusual circumstances of an op-ed journalism, saying maybe this is descriptive of what's really happening. You know, I don't know what sort of profits are in Luxembourg these days, but it looks to me like the old Europe is making a play for a neo-NATO. One of the things I know about Gerald Horne's work is he takes a sort of he's very well liked by Cornel West, and he's an African socialist. To whom my concerns are nothing. I mean, it may very well be that I can learn a great deal and have something to thank him for something like his observations from Jazz or Justice. I mean, I wouldn't realize there was a historic foundation for my experience with King Crimson, which was clearly a military operation. And he says, you know, the military's origins when jazz go back to New Orleans. Okay, so that's all very interesting. But his concern is not me. As a white person, I've been completely dehumanized, completely dehumanized. And he takes an angle, professional angle, to the civil rights movement, which is a little bit off canon, which is interesting. It's good reading. I mean, I highly recommend this work. But I don't agree with his take on. I mean, he's encouraging these prophets of Luxembourg who've gone from peace and green party to hybrid Zania. virtually overnight, backstabbing me in Pittsburgh horrifically. And of course, they have the celebrity superstate of black people. Now, I think what happened was that Trumpy Tune and the Oprah Winfrey sect got together and said, if you're talking about taking care of the masses, it's communist. What matters isn't the value of human life, but the quality of human life. Okay, so you get the idea that once you have an argument that the mass has got to go, quality of human life is what we're after, you start getting into excluding, genocidal practices. So Chris Rock slaps Will Smith, Rock and Smith, like Smith and Wesson. Wesson, Raleigh Wesson, Rock and Raleigh Wesson, Wesson Oil, oil lesson, oil lesson. Put in a good word for me. Put with Putin, lesson oil Wesson, Chris Rock, Smith and Rock, Smith, Raleigh lesson, the oil lesson, the two virgins business. And Hollywood slaps him. And then he goes into the spiral that they like about victims, everybody, nobody, who is really, what is really, who is really, what is really. It's a spiral about victim, Kremlinopolis in metropolitan New York, loopy duped with Spike Lee and Louis Lapham, all through the sidestep the ecology issue, Curry's economy, airy fairy, sidestep the ecology issue, 80s, while they were kissing butt, licking boot to Massa Reagan, you know. And I mean, how did this neo-NATO jazz justice emerge from the smoke and mirrors of Hollywood to allow for these leapfrog oligarchs? Yeah, Manafort, Trumpy Tunes dude, was almost put on trial over the Maidan massacres where Yanukovych escaped. We don't know what happened. It's all very mysterious. But Putin and Trump were loyal, friendly about what happened in Kiev that estranged Kiev from Moscow. That's right. Spike Lee said, Trumpy Tune, and Spike Lee sent Kissinger to pat my man Putin on the butt. And so what's going on with these leapfrog oligarchs is that they've agreed that the significance of human life is under question. The quality of human life is what we should be gunning for, and they're selling oil. You're making multi-millions, a day, thousands a second, racking it up. Okay, so the profits, when I say profits, now we get to the PROFITS, profits of Luxembourg. They've actually got a new attitude in the leadership quorums. War is good if you make a buck. Will you make profit off it? Okay, then it's good. If you won't make profit on it, then it's bad. None of this moralizing. And that's news. That's brand new to the human experiment. So just about. I mean, even that awful Weasler was telling there was some reason, wasn't just to make Rolo boodle. So what's going on? What's the paradigm? They still say, no, 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 Queerbait, you have it wrong, Queerbait. There's a moral. It's moral. It's the moral of the angry father. That's why you have cinema as the last holdout about Flame Over Africa. SIN, Sin Cinema. Mm-hmm. The angry father. Who gets to play the angry father? We've got Vlad, the angry father. We've got Donald, the angry father. We've got Biden, the angry father. We've even got Barrett, the angry father. And they're looking down the nose bin of Clint Eastwood's special selections services. It's back to the original days when Brezhnev jumped with glee at the sight of Chuck Connors, the rifleman, the original Angry Father. It's where these brilliants put it together, the Angry Father. None of this home girls, I still love her. I'm keeping my, granting her her space. I respect her dignity. What is you touched a girl? The Highness doesn't like that. The Highness wants Roman Colosseums built to battle over the virgins. She rejected him, but if he bests you, he gets to take her by force. In mentality, you get it, like they humiliate the queer babe and his mother and come at him with scissors, something I've never even dreamed. Yeah, they'd shoot me if doubly quick. Somebody comes at me with scissors after humiliate my mother's completely humiliated by this overly precious um, provincial norm of the city of Pittsburgh. And I was deafened. I mean, you should hear Michael Reagan jump for joy when we get to his favorite scene. He comes at me with scissors, right? And I give him a fat lip. You know what that means? That means I get to rape Cersei Kennedy and kill her. Because I violated the sacred Swami Nostrum of John Lennon's special selection spirit at Amnesty International. This is hybridizania for real. And you got the coppers, the slacker coppers, who buzz in and say, oh, that's neat. I love hybridizania. They had Des Moines Register people in public saying, let's have a game of pussy ball. In public, they were saying they were not, they were unashamed of breaking the windows of Congress. Okay, unashamed of it. And this business about the right to confront the accuser, little Jimmy Curry didn't even know who Donald Trump was. And we all now know that the person who locked me in the shack with Dee Dee was Donald Trump. When do I get to confront this asshole? Never. I never get to confront that asshole. Never. But Donald Trump knows that I speak of him in the royal Dutch he deserves. And he doesn't like it. And many innocent people pay as a result of his hybridizania. What's going on? There's an override concept. There's a moral. The angry father. Who gets to play the angry father? That's the folk ways that will never change. State ways will never be able to change. We know that JFK was struck down in Dealey Plaza by the angry father of the Texas school book. We know that Ukraine had to yield to the angry father of Moscow. Who gets to play the angry father? Well, more or less anybody who's willing to do the bidding of the invisible leapfrog on Noguchi.